when the calendar turns over to January 1st, no matter what year it is, you could wake up possibly with a hangover, but always drink responsibly, eat some bread, and then you'll wake up just fine. And then you'll say, it's a new year. This could be the best year around. And who knows, maybe you could get that promotion to not keep you down. Maybe you could make sure that that brand new car that you have is going to last forever and ever and ever. Or you could possibly get a new girlfriend to replace that old hag that you've had for a number of years. Change it out like you change your oil. Don't ever take relationship advice from me, by the way, folks, but you also could realize that that means a new slate of movies, whether from small studios, big studios, massive theatrical offerings, or streaming platform server things. They could actually turn out to be some of the best stuff that you've seen. Who knows, but there's a cornucopia of films out there, and these are the best, and that's what I'm here to talk about. I'm John Redland with the 10 best movies of 2026 list so far. So let me know your favorite movies in the comments, please. And these are, of course, just my opinions. And once again, depending on what order you are seeing these in, no, I didn't do full reviews of all of these movies like I have in years past because I'm in my mid-40s, guys. I've been doing a lot of other projects. I've been trying to focus on maybe not burning myself out, not just on movies, but especially on wrestling. And after doing YouTube for so goddamn long, I had to ease back. I got my 1,000,000 views, and I could do this until I'm 55 and not reach 2,000,000 views. But that being said, it is still fun, and thank you guys very much for tuning in. So let's get to the honorable mentions with good luck, have fun, don't die. This was a Regal mystery movie. It was a lot of fun. It was from Gore Verbinski and featured Sam Rockwell as a man from the future trying to stop technology from taking over. And it was fun, it was breezy, it was entertaining. Okay, it was maybe a little bit long, but it was a whole lot of fun with a great cast and some really inventive, set pieces and one inventive creature that I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a movie that isn't anime and from Japan and from the most obscure parts of somebody's mind. But good luck, have fun, don't die is a lot of fun. I think it's on Hulu right now, if I recall correctly, so please check it out. I wish it had done better in theaters, but to be quite honest, I'm actually amazed that this movie even got released in theaters. Not that it didn't deserve it, but just with how theaters are. Is God Is features Sterling K. Brown as a very creepy dad, and two great lead performances by two twin girls that are trying to seek revenge for what happened to their mother. It's a lot of fun, and I wish it had done better in theaters. Unfortunately, again, much like Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, was amazed this wasn't shoved right out onto streaming. But it is well worth checking out. Really great chemistry between the two leads, and some good splatter violence, and a pretty good ending, even if it seems like it's a little bit like, well, we're going to go here to the boom, and we're done. Still, it feels earned. I Love Boosters. Yeah, this was certainly fucked up. Kiki Palmer, we have Will Poulter, we have Asa Gonzalez, we have various other people, some incredible sets, some great use of color. Lakeith Stanfield playing a character that is certainly odd. I don't necessarily know if everything in I Love Boosters works out unless you see it with an open mind, but when it takes that turn and it goes into some weird places, you're either going to stick with it or it's going to completely lose you. It kept me. Maybe this should be in my top 10 given what is there. But I certainly want to shout I Love Boosters. Unfortunately, another one that I think after opening weekend didn't do all that great. Still pretty goddamn good. So we go to The Sheep Detectives. Hugh Jackman leading a flock. He passes away. And the sheep, voiced by various actors, must figure out who basically did the whole thing. Fun fact, Nicholas Galitzine was in this just before being in Masters of the Universe. I've seen like 8 or 9 movies that he's been in, and he's only been in like 20 credited roles. But The Sheep Detectives is cute. It's fun. It actually has some pretty moving moments to it, shockingly, which I didn't expect. The Sheep Detectives is a lot of fun, and again, one that I think should have done a little bit better in the long term. I think it did well in theaters, but I think it probably also cost a little bit more than a movie like this should have. I mean, it was cute for kids and cute for adults. I almost think the Netflix swallowing this up might have been better, but then they might have taken over the creative direction and it might have looked a lot worse than it did, because that's what Netflix does. So we go to the Testament of Anne Lee. Amanda Seyfried, I still don't know how to fucking pronounce that, leads this interesting take on Anne Lee. Read up on Anne Lee if you want to know. That has to do with going over to the U.S., wanting to have a certain religious freedom. Musical numbers are certainly odd. I drove all the way down to the North Seattle Theater to see this because no other theater is playing it close. And it's an experience. I don't know if it's necessarily the best experience. I might have soured a little bit on it now that I'm thinking about it, but it's still well worth checking out and one of the best movies of the year for all the positives. There are certain things that don't work, but I end up being rather invested in a good majority of it to definitely recommend. So watch it and see how you feel. So, Pillion. Yeah, this was certainly messed up. Messed up in the most charming way possible. Basically, if BDSM was given a bit of a comic relief moment, and in several other moments, it was moving. It was another one I went and saw the North Seattle Theater. I saw this as a special screening, I think, sometime after watching. I watched a couple things. But I had a lot of fun with Pillion, and actually the crowd was pretty invested in it. So, yeah, please check it out. This is one on either Hulu or HBO Max. I swear, no, not the All for One song. It is about a young man that develops Tourette's, unfortunately, and has to find a way to make that work. And great performance by the young man that plays him, and then by the more adult version, based on a true story. And actually, very, very good. It was one of the Regal Mystery movies and ended up surprising me quite a bit. So yeah, I swear, I think it's on streaming, or at least on video on demand, so if you want to wait until it drops in price, go ahead. But it is worth checking out because of the great lead performance, but also other performances in the cast. Now we get to the top 10. Surratt. A dad goes to look for his daughter at a rave in the desert, and it has some incredible music, has some incredible cinematography. Granted, maybe it does go in a bit, I don't want to say conventional direction. It is definitely a bit of an obscure movie, but you can see why this film received so much critical acclaim. I can see why some people didn't jive with this at all. I did. And I know technically this thing came out in some markets last year, but it came out in full swing in 2026. That's why I'm putting it here. It was higher on my list. Got knocked down the more I thought about it, and the more I compared it to some others. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Surratt. And again, that music is very, very goddamn absorbing. And pretty disturbing. Pretty weird. Also has some good social political commentary that would be very hard for me to get into in this particular video. But yeah, it's well done. It's a well-told story. Number 9, Send Help. Rachel McAdams, Dylan O'Brien. I mentioned this on my best horror movies of the year list. It's just a lot of fun. Sam Raimi, maybe not at his peak, but definitely back to as much form as he can be at this point in his career and life. Two people stranded on an island. A lot of fun. Power dynamics getting shifted. Then trying to make Rachel McAdams, yes, her unappealing. Definitely bold. Didn't work. Still would have. But yeah, Send Help was a lot of fun. Maybe more comedy than horror, but still enough of a mix. And that boar scene was pretty funny. So we get to number 8, Leviticus. After seeing Girls Like Girls, I saw this. So we went from a coming-of-age drama with two girls, well, they won't date, to Joe Bird and a boy named Stacy. Stacy Clausen, I think was his last name. As two boys in Australia, seemingly in the 80s or 90s, because of the lack of technology, or lack of smartphones and stuff like that. As two boys that are, want to get together, but then we have the gay conversion therapy aspect of bullshit religion. And then they are hunted by something that looks like them but is not them. That is basically Leviticus, and read up on the story of Leviticus. And if you feel cold steel near your head, that's because you are reading some version of the Bible, and why would you be doing that? And not applying it in a proper way as a storybook. But Leviticus is pretty haunting and doesn't overstay its welcome in about 80 to 85 minutes. Hoppers. This to this. This to this. Hoppers is a lot of fun and one of the most moving Pixar movies of the last number of years. Way better than it had any right to be. A girl loves nature, gets stuck in a beaver. No, that is not a euphemism. Where she essentially must... it's a robot-like, body. It's like Avatar. No, it's nothing like Avatar. We take this into this to this. But it's a nice bit on appreciating nature, trying to save certain things and come to an understanding with people, and some really good stuff. Made me tear up more than I thought. Speaking of movies that made me tear up, and by the way, Hoppers is on Disney Plus. You'll please check it out. And then in theaters right now. So pause the movie and go see it after I say what it is. Toy Story 5. Unless you've already seen it by the time this recording comes out. Toy Story 5. I did not expect this to go up on my best movies list. Not that I didn't expect Toy Story 5 to be good, but after rewatching the first three and seeing the admittedly well-made but flawed fourth movie, also unnecessary, Toy Story 5 was about as return to form as you could be, or as you could get. You could argue it's better than Toy Story 1, even though to infinity and beyond and a bunch of quotes and everything. Time has not been kind to some aspects of Toy Story. Toy Story 2 was as, faithful of a sequel as it could be. Toy Story 3 was the benchmark and where it should have ended, but billions and billions of dollars is difficult to turn down. And I don't blame them for making Toy Story 4. It made just over $1 billion worldwide. This likely will make close to $1 billion worldwide. And it's way more moving because it goes in a couple directions I didn't expect. And I had a lot of fun with it. And it also wrapped things up nicely where, you know what? If they want to do a Toy Story 6, maybe I'll be on board. Maybe I actually will. But yeah, this was 100% better than it had any right to be. So we go to number 5, The Furious. Some incredible stunts likes of which I have not seen in any movie, to be perfectly honest. Even The Raid. I mean, I'm not saying this is better than The Raid, because The Raid had incredible action. And this is basically like a continuation of The Raid, where a guy is trying to save his daughter from human traffickers. But unlike Protector, this is just great as far as just using weaponry, using stunt work, and just, I don't know how they pulled some of this shit off. And incredible ending, incredible ending fight sequence. Great stuff. The Furious is absolutely worth seeing. If it's playing in a theater by the time you see this, go see it if you can. Because it's a great theatrical experience. Bone-crunching action. And just great shit. I mean, just some great stuff. Yeah, you gotta pay attention to the subtitles. Oh, darn. Number 4, Marama. Or Marama. Anyway, this is just great shit. This is a great film. Gothic. Eerie as hell about the Maori family, or the Maori tribe and the colonization, and a family that has ties to the Maori, civilization. I'm probably totally mispronouncing that. I do apologize. The filmmaker, I believe, had a mother that was Maori, or Maori. I'm sorry. If there's a way to pronounce it and you're watching this, please let me know. But Marama has a great lead performance and some great gothic imagery, and sure, might seem to follow some familiar beats, but I found it to be rich and dripping with atmosphere, and it is one of the best films of the year to me, so that's what I'm saying. It is on Amazon, I believe, as of now. I don't know if this is going to be on Shudder. I don't know if it's a Shudder original. Hopefully Shudder will pick it up. It would be nice if it got that kind of platform, but we'll see. Number 3, Backrooms. Kane Parsons started a web series continuing a little Backrooms creepypasta thing about rooms that continue onward and onward and onward, not quite looking right with some weird architecture and stuff like that, and also weird creepy shit going on. And then A24 looked at that and said, here's $10 million, make your vision. we'll have a screenwriter with you, but whatever. Renata Renzva's in this. And Chitwell I always forget how to pronounce his last name, from 12 Years a Slave and various others. Renata Renzva I will watch literally in any film and need to catch up on some of her backlog. Backrooms is incredible, has over-delivered on the performances, at the box office at least. And we're going to get some possible sequels. Maybe we might get a possible Backrooms television show, not just solely on YouTube. I actually need to go watch the stuff on YouTube and see if there's anything that will make a few things clear. But Backrooms is a whole lot of fun. And very creepy. Yeah, it ends a bit conventionally, I would say. But you get to see Renata Renzva. How could you not love it, like it, whatever. Number 2, Fist Bump. Fist My Bump. No, that's not correct. Yes, it's Project Hail Mary. It was so close between this and number 1 for best of the year. And number 1 just ekes out over this. Even though Project Hail Mary it received a lot of praise based on a popular book and was lavished with a bunch of critics just saying it was so great. Ryan Gosling was great. Rocky, the creature, that how could you make me care for a silly puppet like that, or a puppet type creature like that? They did. Sandra Hüller was in this. Magnificent. Well-told story, breezy pace, despite the near punishing 2.5 hours or thereabouts. Project Hail Mary is great. It is a great cinematic achievement. It made a lot of money. I'm glad that Amazon decided to put it in theaters, even though they spent quite a bit of money on it. Because a lot of times they'll do that, and they'll show stuff onto their goddamn streaming service. But man, Project Hail Mary is 1,000% worth seeing. I think as of now it's still available to rent on Amazon, but it will be available for free on Amazon for Amazon Prime members very soon. If it's still anywhere in a theater near you, try to go see it. I don't think it is. I think it's done being in theaters as of now. But man, Project Hail Mary was goddamn good. But number 1, stay! Yes, it's Obsession. Indy Navarrete. I can't do it like she does. That sounded dirty. Indy Navarrete basically having the breakout performance of the year. It was something that nobody could see coming. And Curry Barker, who started out on YouTube, did a Milk and Cereal short horror movie that was like 62 minutes. Well received. Got this $750 grand to $100 million, or to $100 million, to $1 million. To make this movie about what happens if you don't wish correctly. You wish for your crush to like you, but you're not specific, and you get this. And Bear must bear the brunt of what he went through. Bear's not a hero, by the way. Yeah, no, he's not a hero. I didn't feel bad for him at all. Indy Navarrete is magnificent. Megan Lawless should not be forgotten about as having a great performance in this, as well as Sarah. And Cooper Tomlinson, who is Curry's collaborator on That's a Bad Idea on YouTube, is able to, play off of him pretty goddamn well. And it's really, really good and really well made for $750 grand to $1 million. I mean, that's pretty goddamn good. Also, Andy Richter is in this as a record store owner or music store owner, whatever it is. And man, that ending, good grief. It's also made over $300 million worldwide. Think about the budget and think about this. I expected that it might make money. It actually rose up, over a couple weeks compared to its opening weekend. Now it's starting to trickle down because everything does. But this movie has a chance to basically come close to being the highest grossing horror movie of all time. It's going to be on digital soon, but if you can see this in theaters with a potentially engaged audience, it might be better. I'm not saying it's not worth $20 at home, but if you can get a chance to go watch this with a few friends at a theater, because it's probably still going to play in theaters at least for the next few weeks, at least until Evil Dead Burn comes out. There we go. It's Obsession. Really, people are obsessed. And let's look at Indy Navarrete. How could you not be obsessed with her? But again, Megan Lawless should not be forgotten about. Personally, would have chose Sarah if I was Bear. That's just me. Nothing against Nikki. But man, so many quotable lines, so many great moments in Obsession. That being said, We are onwards to the rest of 2026. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentland, and will Hollywood continue to over-deliver in some aspects? I don't know. I don't have a fucking time machine. It's in the wash. But until we see that, happy trails to you.